Did you know in Halo 3, if you flip the elephant, it has special dialogue? Or that in Halo 2, there's a secret scarab gun hidden all the way on top of one of the buildings on Metropolis? Oh, you did? Good. Because today we're going into some Halo Easter eggs and secrets you actually don't know. This isn't your regular, stereotypical, common Easter egg Halo video. Also, we totally stole this intro from Blue Boy Finn's Obscure Pokemon Facts You Don't Know series. We'll link his video at the end of this video. We sought out some of the rarest and most secret Halo Easter eggs that don't have all that much coverage and you may have never heard of, with the intention of trying to surprise even some of the most experienced and more knowledgeable Halo fans out there. We're pretty sure at the very least there's a couple of Easter eggs here that you may not have actually known about. So that being said, let's go ahead and jump into this. Ready, set, go. Now, one of my favorite things when it comes to Easter eggs are when certain ones go undiscovered for a very, very long time, or at the very least have little to no coverage of it online whatsoever. And this first one was one I had never heard of, and when I tried to look it up, never found anything on it, but one user on Twitter, under BE, randomly DM'd me all the way back in 2021, telling me about some oddity that they had happen when they played on Halo 3's Crow's Nest. You see, on Crow's Nest, there are 7 different servers that are located in this area. And if you stand around in this opening room for about 30 minutes, and mind you, give or take a couple of minutes if it doesn't happen at exactly 30, one of the servers will start playing different beeping tones that ends up playing out the Halo theme song. Now, when this was originally messaged to me, I didn't actually necessarily fully believe it at first because I'd never heard of it before. I couldn't find anything online about it, and I couldn't seem to replicate it myself, so I just kind of wrote it off. But a few months ago, we were getting footage of something on Crow's Nest, and I ended up leaving my game on after capturing some footage to work on my computer, and sure enough, eventually, it started beeping. And it was, in fact, to the Halo theme. So yeah, this was actually a brand new discovery as far as we're aware, and this is what it sounds like in-game after waiting that long. Yeah, it's pretty amazing. Okay, most of us already know about the secret grunt dancing Easter egg found in Halo Reach. By activating these switches, you can go into Club Herrera, and there's a DJing Brute and some dancing grunts. There was also some more obscure ones in Halo 2 and also in Halo 5, but we didn't realize that there actually was one in Halo 4. And while this one does have some documentation of it online in a couple of videos, it's not one that's often talked about, and it's mostly a forgotten Easter egg by the majority of people who follow these types of things. This is most likely because when this Easter egg was originally discovered, and when most people would have talked about it, it wasn't actually at the launch of Halo 4. It was months later when they were releasing the later episodes of Spartan Ops in a DLC form. So at that point, a lot of people had already fallen off Halo, and the discussions just never really spread as much and reached less people, making it a little bit more forgettable. But it's actually really cool here. If you load up in Spartan Ops Episode 6, Chapter 2, if you make sure to avoid all of the enemies early on and you climb up these rocks over here, if you continue to follow this left side for a bit, you can make your way into this far hallway and run to the end where you'll find a loudspeaker. If you shoot it and it explodes, and then you go and clear the rest of the enemies here, the objective will update and this door will open up, and once you go inside, you'll find a new grunt dancing party. Here's a little clip of what this sounds and looks like. Okay, this next one's pretty random because there's a lot of different dialogue lines throughout all of the Halo games that technically serve as Easter eggs, but this one in particularly is just extra interesting. At the beginning of Winter Contingency in Halo Reach, if you stand around just staring at Carter, not doing anything, just staring at him for a while, eventually Carter will make a small quip about this.
Your file mentioned this.
I don't know why I think this one's really funny. It's just kind of alludes to someone in Noble Six's record actually writing down that he has a tendency to just oddly stare at people for a prolonged amount of time. And I just think that that's a pretty interesting lore tidbit if we want to go ahead and count that as canon. Okay, I will be fair. There's a couple of things on this list that if you're a hardcore Rocket Sloth fan, you may have heard us talk about, but I still think they're incredibly obscure. So let's look at Oni Alpha Base in Halo ODST. If you look at this memorial, it talks about a ton of different prominent humans that had died, and while more often than not, your attention may gaze to some of the more prominent Halo universe people that show up on this list, like Catherine Halsey or someone like that, but over here you can see a Jason Morelli, who actually is the father of one of the main characters from the I Love Bees audio story, who goes by the name Jersey Morelli. Now, in I Love Bees, it's revealed that Jason Morelli not only was in the UNSC, but it's also suggested that at some point he worked with the AI Melissa, which is part of the reason why in I Love Bees, when Melissa becomes fragmented, part of her ends up spying on Jersey. It's kind of alluded to that there was some sort of familiar link there. Still, from time to time, parts of I Love Bees is brought up in a big question as to whether or not it counts as canon, but I think the fact that Jason Morelli's name being right here in a Halo game kind of confirms the fact that I Love Bees is of course canon. Okay, this next one I'm not going to talk about for too long because apparently everyone knows this, but I didn't until literally a couple days ago. But on the Warthog run at the end of Halo 3, there's this structure over here, which is supposed to be a visual allusion to the Halo Combat Evolved level Silent Cartographer. Since this Halo ring is a remake of Installation 04, it makes sense that the proximity of where Silent Cartographer would have been is somewhat close to the control room, which we see at the beginning of this level. So yeah, I never knew this, apparently everyone else did. On the level Long Night of Solace in Halo Reach, if you are flying your saber near the Anchor 9 outpost, you actually can see at a distance, and if you look at it just the right way, that this specific structure is shaped like a couple of numbers chained together. 117. Yeah, I think it's just a little subtle Easter egg in the form of architecture, something that Bungie has done in the past and later on would continue to do in games like Destiny. So hey, that's kind of neat. This next one, maybe you have heard of it, but most people probably haven't. Well, Halo has a long history of having different messages hidden away in multiplayer maps and campaign levels. There's this secret message that shows up in Halo 2 on the level Backwash. Now, for the most part, this one kind of has gone under the radar for a lot of people. We have covered this one briefly in the past, and General Kid had a video go up about a year and a half ago where he looked into this secret message. The video only got 30,000 views, and he also looked into some really interesting things that are hidden underneath the map. So make sure you always go and give General Kid some love and watch his videos too, because he goes really in depth on a ton of different little secrets. But yeah, I feel like not too many people know about the secret text on Backwash. So yeah, look at this. It says it's looking a little rough out here, and then if you go over here, it also just says here. But yeah, you have to kind of walk around a bit until you find this right area and then kind of move over to this section to get to it. But yeah, you can see the text. Okay, then while we were playing on Backwash getting footage for this video, I found something I never knew of. Everyone playing with us never have heard of it, so hopefully this isn't something too well known. But on Backwash, if you look up here at the top part of the main structure in the middle, there's a gargoyle just chilling back here. I don't know how I never saw this until now. But yeah, it's not on any of the other sides. It's just a gargoyle statue. I'm sure people know about this one, right? It couldn't just have been me. Anyways, I still wanted to include it because it was just kind of something we found while we were getting footage specifically for this video. A while back in the Master Chief Collection, Halo 4 received a Forge update, adding in some new structures along with some new vehicles. And when this update was added in, there was now new ways you were able to interact with the maps and glitch out and glitch through various barriers that are set up here. And if you go to the level Pitfall, you can use a teleporter and manipulate the physics on it to make sure you clip through this first wall, and then you clip through an invisible barrier along with a soft kill barrier, and you can get all the way outside the window where all of this stuff is going on. There's a ton of explosions, things are falling from the sky, it looks pretty hectic. You can't actually stand on the ground while you're out here, though you can spawn in different objects and stand on those objects, but it is kind of interesting to get to escape from a map, especially from a game like Halo 4 where in the multiplayer side of things are pretty locked down and not wanting you to go too far out of the main playable space. Also, on the Halo Online map Icebox that was later added into the Master Chief Collection for Halo 3, there's this really cool Hornet that just like flies in. It has a spotlight. It looks all mysterious and atmospheric, but if you fly a little closer to the Falcon itself, you'll realize there's nobody driving it. It's just doing this stuff on its own. It is kind of impressive, but yeah, just a small little bonus thing for this level. There's also a rat on this level too, but you might have known that. Okay, this next one is another one that we had no idea about, and apparently some people saw this video way back in the day, but I don't think nowadays too many people know about it. 9 years ago, YouTuber NoWise did a tutorial showing how to do this, but on the level Composer, you can actually do a few pretty interesting jumps to get up on top of a phantom that's flying away, and if you time your jump off of the phantom, you can land on another phantom who will then fly over this direction, where then you can jump off that phantom and land on this Mac gun. From there, if you ever so carefully maneuver towards the side back of the Mac gun, you can drop into this little corner here, and then from there, jump up and hold down the button to enter a vehicle, and boom, you actually have control of the Mac cannon. Now, it's not as strong as Halo Reach's Mac cannon that you got to shoot at the end of the game, but still, it's a neat little glitch that ends up reaching to the point of you getting to have a brand new feature to get to try out in Halo 4, which is actually a really cool thing here hidden away in Halo 4 that not too many people know about. In Halo 3 ODST, many people already know that the license plates throughout all of the vehicles in ODST are a lot of the time references to various Halo characters, but there is another I Love Bees reference hidden in here in the form of this license plate, which is a reference to Yasmin, who was a candidate for a class 2 of the Spartan 2s that ended up getting canceled or something like that, but still somehow she went through her augmentation and ended up dying during the augmentation process. This then ended up leading to the entire narrative of I Love Bees, but yeah, here's a little reference hidden right here to this Spartan that's often forgotten about. Now, we know that the Covenant often refers to the Master Chief as Demon, but there is rare footage that you can occasionally find in Halo of Brutes calling ODSTs imps. It's not something very common, but it can happen, like in this clip that Zombie343 sent us. Also, Zombie pointed this out that apparently nobody talks about this one ever when we were talking to him about this video, and he said that if you teabag a certain crawler 117 times in Halo 5 Guardians, it activates an Easter egg where Exuberant Witness will fly in and start helping out in the fight. I had no idea about that, but that's really cool. Okay, this next one probably makes sense, though you may not have actually noticed it before yourself, but on the multiplayer level Rat's Nest from Halo 3, if you are maybe alone and there's no one like running around or shooting or anything in the background and you listen very, very carefully, you can faintly hear occasionally buggers traveling through the vents. This is probably obvious because this map reuses some assets from the campaign level Crow's Nest that has buggers going through the vents, but you may not have noticed that there were the sounds here in the multiplayer level as well, and that's kind of interesting. Also, on the campaign level, the Ark, when we were doing some research for something or another, we were in this area before you get into the big canyon where the Wraiths and everyone else is like just fighting it out. We found this rock. I know the rock doesn't seem too substantial or anything, but it's not just any rock, it's a boulder. And one thing we found was really interesting is that in this section, there is a sound effect that plays of like wind blowing to kind of make the atmosphere of this level feel more alive. Just the good old Bungie design, sound design stuff that they're known for doing. However, we were noticing as we were moving around this rock that the wind sound actually comes from this rock itself. You can listen in, and if you have like directional sound, you can tell that the wind is strictly coming from inside of this rock. Depending on what side of the rock you're on, the wind will shift to that direction, and that's something really interesting. So whatever the cue or the in-world location of the sound, it might be just an object that they place when they're programming the game that's literally inside of this rock. But yeah, you can hear this anytime you play on the Ark and you travel around this boulder. It's kind of cool. Did you ever notice on Winter Contingency see there's these weird symbols on the walls next to each colony structure. This is something that was brought to our attention by Dashy Jinx, who is a huge prominent member in the Halo community, has been around since the earliest glyph days of ODST, and wanted to show us these symbols that show up in Halo Reach. Now, we actually ended up falling down a massive rabbit hole, and this ended up going way further and possibly deeper than we ever thought it could go. So there's something going on here for sure, but we're gonna save that for an upcoming video. However, the surface most basic level Easter egg that we are going to include in this video that most people don't know about is that these symbols, while they are different, do pay an homage to the symbols that were found in the doors of the Marathon games, which were also made by Bungie. See, this is what a door in Marathon looks like, and this is what these symbols look like. This was the main reason we were looking into the symbols, was for this video, but now we have this huge rabbit hole that just opened up, and there's some unsolved mysteries in here actually dating back to the Bungie days that we need to talk about soon. So make sure you're subscribed, because this is going to be another interesting video to look into. Okay, then we were also on the fence in this video about talking about things that we've talked about on our channel that we discovered that most regular people don't know about or didn't know about until we discovered them. Now, we've talked about them in various videos already, so we're not going to go into them too deeply, but just a quick little bonus place where you can go look for more Easter eggs if you're curious about it. But we think we're the first people, at least online, to talk about the newspaper article found in ODST that had a grunt adopting a baby as a headline, and you see a picture of a grunt and a baby. We just happened to stumble upon this one because we were playing right after the 4K upgrade to Master Chief Collection for Xbox Series X, and while we were playing, we noticed this. I don't think it was too visible beforehand, but yeah, I think we were the first people on this, not 100% sure still. We were, however, the first people alongside Duquesne and one of Duquesne's buddies to discover the Halo 5 Mongoose cart Easter egg, which was leaked online with some clues to go look for them, and that was really fun. We had a whole video dedicated to that already, and of course, you guys know we were the YouTubers to crack what the Halo 3 ODST glyphs really meant, which we did end up getting confirmation in the comment section of our final video on that we were in fact correct. At least I think that's what the bingo thing meant, maybe. Okay, so what did you guys think? Did we get at least somewhat close to having some facts, Easter eggs, or secrets that you had no idea about? Let us know in the comment section down below. If you actually knew all of these, I mean, congratulations, but I am a little suspicious about your honesty. Nonetheless, this video wouldn't have even been made possible if it wasn't for our patrons, so thank you so much to everybody who supported us on Patreon. If you want to throw a few dollars our way, it goes a long way. You get a special Discord role, which is really cool, so that'd be awesome if you guys want to help out. But anyways, thanks so much for watching. Also, if you guys didn't know, Luke and I launched a new channel called Rocket One. We uploaded a really interesting video where we looked at some insane old commercials from Toys R Us. There is a link to that channel in the description down below, so make sure you guys go check that out as well. That's it for today. We'll see you next time with a brand new video.